Morning.
Yes, in the meantime, Teguh, Christian, Teguh, starting with you, can you please introduce yourself, a little background about what you do, and let people understand why it's really important to listen to you today?
Of course, thank you so much. Hi everyone, my name is Teguh Wicaksono. I'm Indonesian based in Singapore. I co-founded a couple of music initiatives, all in Indonesia. There are like 3 of them. I'm going to start with Archipelago Festival. It's an ongoing festival focusing on emerging talents from Indonesia. We started it in 2017, and it's an annual festival. Think about like an Indonesian version of South by Southwest. It's the first. In 2012, I co-founded a project called Sounds from the Corner. It's an Indonesian archiving project focusing on creating documentation of local music within the archipelago. And the last one, just last year, we opened a multidisciplinary venue in Jakarta called Krapela, focusing on inclusivity and modularity. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's a lot of different areas that you can chat about today. Christian, over to you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Christian, Christian Bong. So I started my career to be a music content creator back then in 2014. I created music covers, uploaded on social media like YouTube, Instagram, and then I founded Indomusikgram, which is basically a music cover. It was initially started as music content creators community. So we expose local emerging talents who do music covers, and then we grew up as media. We work with a lot of labels, management, and regulators like publisher associations, label associations, and we also work with some international talents to visit our studio. So we basically create contents. We be the media partners to a lot of events in Indonesia, which is festivals, concerts, and then other aspects within the music industry. And right now we have our own label distribution. We have the artist management agency as well. And we also do the B2B production for companies who have schedule for making jingles or something like that, because we have a lot of talents who work in the music, like creating songs, making music productions. So we gather them into one place and we choose the best talents and sell it to the B2B companies. So I think that's pretty much summarize what I'm doing right now.
It's a great summary, and that's, again, a lot of different things. I think one thing many of you will discover, if you haven't already, is that a lot of people in Asia wear multiple hats and work across both the recorded and the live sides of the industry, which is really, really fascinating. So everybody, I think most people would have Jakarta in their top 10 Spotify playlists, and people talk about how viral of a market Indonesia is. Christian, can you please talk us through exactly what the popular platforms right now are for people to discover and keep up with their favorite artists, as well as how do Indonesians use these platforms? Because I feel like you can say, like, for example, Facebook or Instagram, right? Like, everybody, most people in the world have access to it, but Indonesians use it in a particularly interesting and exciting way.
Okay, so from what I know, we discover artists as an Indonesian through music streaming platforms like YouTube Music and Spotify and some other new platforms that gain popularity recently, like Treble and TikTok Music. And they celebrate the artists by attending to their festivals, attending to their concerts, sharing their music on social media, sharing their music on Instagram story, and then cover their songs, post it on social media, hoping that maybe the musicians will notice their works. And then they also share the lyrics to the social media, because there's a lot of things happening in the social media scene in Indonesia where people love to share the part of the lyrics that they currently listening to, and they hope that other people will feel the same by looking at the lyrics. So yeah, you can tell that we have also the biggest streaming on some big artists like BTS and Blackpink or from Jakarta. So yeah, that's how it is. Whether you are subscribing, I mean like you're paying for the subscribe to like Spotify or you're not. There's a lot of audiences to who use Spotify and YouTube Music to celebrate the artists.
Can I add a bit more?
Please, yes,
I
yes.
guess what is very interesting as well, from my opinion, is social media is not just a consumption platform from the audience to the artist. So it's traditionally like a one-way platform where you create something and then the consumer gonna consume and interact. But most of the, especially the younger artists in Indonesia, they also make it as a production tool. Notably, I mean, if you're aware of what artists like Hindia or even a couple of like pop singers, like in the more younger demography in Indonesia, they actively utilize social media to create not only that engagement but also like the songs itself and the video music itself. So I feel like it's a very organic UGC behavior coming from the market, because I feel like there's no like it's only natural for the artist to rely on social media. Otherwise, it's very layered and complicated for you to reach the audience. So I feel like using it as a, I mean, it's not rocket science, it's not something new, but in Indonesia it is something that is very common, and I feel like that's a very interesting angle in the market.
Well, very often, you know, some of the most obvious things are the things that we overlook, right? So, and I really, I want to kind of drill into this cover phenomenon a little bit more, because I feel like this is a really helpful tool for Indonesian and international artists who want to really drive their audience growth in Indonesia. Like, how does that exactly work? So, I mean, both of you, I'd love both of your input on it. So, Christian, maybe you start, because your whole platform was built on this whole cover phenomenon, right?
Yeah, the whole thing about covers music is really big in Indonesia. There's a lot of um, music content creators who do covers, like whether it's international songs or no, local songs. And even though there's an uproar about unlicensed cover from the during COVID from the regulators, but still there are also some companies that license the covers to make a win-win solution for all parties. So the publishers, the labels, the music cover, the music cover content creators, they get the same. They get all paid. They because the cover are licensed. So I think it all started because one of the big event that make a inspiration for music cover is YouTube Fan Fest. I also was brought here 2015 because I do music cover. So people are inspired. People are inspired because of music content creators covers like Kurt Hugo Snyder in the U.S. and in Indonesia we have Eka Gustiwana, and Indomusikgram also be the place for a lot of discovery for emerging young talents by doing music covers. And the NRs, the show producers from talent shows like Indonesian Idol, they often look for talents from Indomusikgram and hashtags like Indonesia music covers to look for potential talents, because yeah, that's the most easy way to find new talents by looking from their music covers. And yeah, since TikTok gained popularity because of the algorithm, yeah, it was getting better because it was started in Jakarta. So Indonesia, some people or most people still think about Jakarta scene, Jakarta music, but we have a vast catalog of music. So recently there's also content creators from outside Jakarta, which is from East Java, from Sulawesi, from Bali, even from Papua. They made a music cover from their most favorite artists, and they got discovered from the A&Rs, and then the A&R scouted them to sign on their labels and made them level up by releasing their own original songs. So I think music cover is one of the way for you to, as a talent, as a musician, to gain popularity and build your journey in the music industry.
Amazing. That's very, very helpful. Thank you. And then now kind of veering into more of the live space, because again, Indonesia is very, very well known for having some of the most incredible live events in the region and possibly in the world. I've attended several myself. Teguh, can you please describe sort of what the live landscape looks like, from what are the venue opportunities, what are the key touring markets, what types of festivals are really thriving right now?
Thank you. I'm obviously biased, but because I'm Indonesian. But Indonesian has one of the most probably diverse and dynamic live events scene, quote unquote, in Southeast Asia. It's probably in East Asia as well. Because I mean, geographically, we're an archipelago with like a lot of islands, but it used to be an obstacle because it's hard to connect the dots, and like the physicality is becoming very challenging. But right now we have a couple of like kind of like a very prominent festivals that you can rely on. I would like to say Q4 in Indonesia is a very interesting period because most of our big festivals are happening in that period. I don't know with your market, I don't know with your country, but we have festival in Q4 with hosting more than like 200 bands in 3 days. And 99% of, we have this one festival, for instance, called Synchronized Festival. They only book Indonesian bands, and it's been happening for like 3 or 4 years or 5 years, I forgot, you know, COVID. 4 or 5 years, and they only book bands from Indonesia, and they got probably like 200 bands to 250 bands, and it's only Indonesian bands. So if you attend that festival, only that one festival, you can get a gist of what's happening in the local scene. And again, because it's not only Jakarta centric, so they book bands from a lot of different areas in Indonesia. And the thing is like, it's pretty hard to see if you're not there physically, but like bands outside Jakarta, they have their own infrastructure, they have their own ecosystem. So when they fly to Jakarta to play, you can feel that energy of like, oh, this is Indonesia. There's like this, you know, with this, we have this calling called like, calling called like unity in diversity. There's like a traditional, you know, way of saying what Indonesia is. And coming to that festival is a true, you know, a true feeling of like, this is like unity in diversity. So I can say like it's very interesting right now in Indonesia. And guys, if you want to visit the market Q4, just stay like 2 or 3 months if you can, and then you can see all this amazing hundreds, 500, 600 bands only in that one quarter. Synchronized Festival, Pesta Pora, we have what else? One of like a lot of different festivals.
DWP.
Correct. July we have We the Fest. It's a mixture between local and international, but I think my point is like it's very diverse. It's very interesting.
And, you know, a lot of people, like you said, just know Jakarta and Bali. What are some of the other markets that are hosting events that, you know, either Indonesian or other Asian or even other international artists can
Yes.
potentially come and perform?
Bandung, West Java, 2 hours from Jakarta with car, 1 hour with train. Yogyakarta, it's in Central Java area. They have Jogja and Solo. They have massive rock festivals. If you're a metalhead or you're like a rock fan, Solo, we have rock in Solo. In East Java, we have Surabaya. There's also there's a lot of like, in the 90s, there's this like, oh, Bandung is all about shoegaze, and then, you know, like Solo is about rock. You know, those eras where you have to kind of like capture a scene to a city, like Seattle with something, blah, blah, blah. But it's still like kind of true at this point, but it's not the case anymore. But so yeah, so Jakarta, obviously, Bandung, Yogyakarta, Surabaya, Medan in Sumatra, Bali, obviously. In Sulawesi, we have Makassar. Yeah, so there's like 4 or 5 different cities.
Wow, I mean, unity and diversity really, really captures that very well then.
Yes.
And Christian, you and I were also talking about, you know, I love that you just touched on this, Teguh, about how different cities attach to different genres. One interesting phenomenon, Christian, you were sharing with me yesterday that I think everybody else would also enjoy to hear about is the style of local music and how that differs across the region. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So actually, I spoke to you about more specifically about the gamelan. So I studied music in college, so my lecturer told me about the fun fact about gamelan. If you listen to Indonesian music of gamelan, um, the more you go to the east, the faster the rhythm. But the more you go to the west, the slower the rhythm. Like if you listen to Balinese gamelan, it's usually fast rhythm, like and if you go to the west, like the Sundanese gamelan is usually slower. And I haven't checked the fact about the how it affect the people that live in those areas. Are they living slower than are people live in Bandung slower than living a slower life than people live in Bali? I don't even know, but it was a very interesting fact that um, there's a lot of international musicians incorporate local music, local instruments to gain more attention for Indonesian audiences, and they also not just incorporate Indonesian instruments, but they're also collaborating with local talents. So regarding about style, even recently there's a really popular genre which is koplo. But if you say about koplo, some people will say it is the same with dangdut, but actually it's less a subgenre of dangdut. The koplo musician doesn't like to be regarded as the dangdut musician. Well, the dangdut musician love to be mentioned as a koplo musician. So, but if you listen closely to those two genres, it's slightly a bit different, especially on the percussion part. So it's very a diverse music ecosystem in Indonesia, and the talents that are representing for each genre, they have their own fans, they have their own audiences. So every time, whether there's a festival, whether there's a school festival, if there's a lineup representing the genre, usually like the whole team, the whole situation is like following the genre. Like if there's a koplo, yeah, people most likely will dance. Like people will most likely to enjoy singing, dancing each other. But if the lineup is more to jazz, yeah, we have a lot of great jazz musicians as well in Indonesia. So more people will will most likely like enjoy the jazz music, like when you're listening to jazz music in the hotel lobby, something like that.
That's so great to know as well that there is so much dynamic content being appreciated in the market, because I think a lot of us kind of just think of like indie rock, like you said, the shoegazy thing from Bandung was quite a big thing for a while, or electronic, right? Like the big EDM style festivals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's really great tips for people to really pay attention to like the type of music they're putting out, where that type of music is being consumed. And then the next thing is really, once people have the opportunity to play in the market, whether that is at a small festival, one of these big ones, or even a headline show, Teguh, can you give some advice of how best to prepare for that, to ensure one that like fans attend and that they're really notifying people properly that they're in the market, and how they can capitalize on that for future opportunities?
Sure. So I guess the good thing with the market is the need of like consuming and expressing yourself in social media is very organic and natural in the market. So most of, I can say probably like 95% of musicians in Indonesia, they're gonna have their own social media platform, social media channels. And I think it's only, I cannot really kind of capture what it is, but it's very natural for them to kind of build their own promotional marketing needs in whatever key activity they're gonna have the next like 1 month or 2 months. For instance, they know how to build like a marketing strategy for them to like, if they want to play in a festival, they're gonna I think for most of the indie bands or indie musicians, they already know how to kind of like allocate and schedule their releases with like a key moments in their activities. For instance, if they want to launch a single, they're gonna do it near to a performance in a festival, and then when they perform, they're gonna release a merchandise as well. And sometimes they're gonna announce something on stage, so it becomes like another organic conversation on social. So I can say we are very articulate in that sense, because I feel like the good thing about Indonesian, like they're very fast in learning every social media tools and phenomenon and technologies, etc. So I feel for like I don't have any worry like in Indonesia, like if you if you do have a band, you're gonna start promoting yourself correctly on social media. So yeah, and I don't know if that answer your questions.
I mean, it does. It definitely it starts to, but
Yes.
also I think more for like international artists who
Ah,
are
I
trying to
see.
come in, you know, who may not know the timelines or understand that
Of
so
course.
well. Like,
Yeah.
for example, you know, when I was MD of Southeast Asia for the Orchard,
Mm-hmm.
we would have artists do jukes rooms, you know, and also this is also during COVID, but like the online press conferences
Mm.
or radio opportunities or things like that. Are there opportunities for international artists to tap into that as well?
Yes, you can you can start with browsing like the pockets of opportunities in the music scenes, like you know the festival organizers, the label, the promoter, the booking agent. It's not hard to find them on social and on digital, and I feel like the traditional way of introducing yourself and creating a press kit, sending an email, it's definitely working in the market, especially if you're a band from outside Indonesia. I guess also bringing up the metrics and the numbers that you have, especially if you already have like traction or interest or appetite in Southeast Asia. I think it's not hard to do if you want to introduce yourself with the Indonesian festival promoters, organizers, etc. So yeah, start with there. I think yeah, it's gonna work.
No, that's a really great tip, and I
Mhm.
think a lot of people kind of overlook that because there's usually intermediaries between the artists, you know, like the manager, the agent, promoter. But promoters are a great place to start for resource, right? Like if
100%.
somebody's bringing you into the market,
Yeah.
typically they will have a PR and promo team, and you just need to notify them, right? And say, hey, I'm interested in opportunities, right?
One tip, if you already notice a pattern of bookings in genres, because some festival they're gonna book certain genres, and then if you feel that you fall behind that like umbrella of like this festival is doing EDM and these are like the roster they booked for the past 3 years, so probably they have appetite for my stuff. If I'm doing EDM, for instance, if I'm doing like noise experimental, these are the collective they're using, doing gigs in every 3 months, etc. So I feel like if you kind of like do your research of like how can I fine tune my introduction so it works for the local collective as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
doing
wanna
some of
add-
the lyrics and all of that stuff as well, right, Christian?
Yeah, if you can also like connect with local medias, local publicists, and of course we cannot forget because this is a Creator Week event anyway. If you connect with the content creators in Indonesia, there's a lot of content creators in Indonesia. You can name lifestyle content creators, foodies, and then travel content creators. Almost all social media platforms right now, you can add music to your content, right? Whether it's an Instagram story or TikTok, your TikTok feed or something like that. So if you can tap in to the maybe a talent management company with which they have already a big vast of catalog for content creators, it's also a good part to test the market before you go to the promoters or thinking about performing. Because yeah, performing, yeah, we know that it's a lot of things that we have to prepare.
Mm.
Not all events have to have the ability to fund your cause to perform in Indonesia. There's still festivals that you have to fund your own. And if you want to test the market, like for example, like us in Indomusikgram, we often get emails by the international artists like, how can we collaborate by your audiences, your community to use our songs, and we can talk from that. Like, okay, I think like the audience we did with King Promise when he was releasing the at my worst or at my best. I forgot the song, and he did a campaign with one of the platforms, and it was simply using your song and using his song and post it on social media. So I guess um, there's a lot of options for international industry professionals, whether you're an A&R in your label or you're representing your artist and you want to test the market in Indonesia. People love to like for example, the last Ramadan, the last eight. There's a Malaysian musician which is releasing a song called Alamak Raya Lagi. It was a Malaysian song, but we Indonesians also know alamak as the expression of shock or yeah, surprised. And you know what? They created a social media campaign which the musicians used the song and posted on social media, and they asked the other key stakeholders to use the songs as well. And last 2 weeks, I went to a mall in West Jakarta. I go out from the toilet and a kid sang in front of me, "Alamak Raya Lagi," and I what? Like that was a Malaysian song. I mean, like Indonesian has has a lot of Ramadan songs catalog, but there you are. I mean, like it's so easy to tap into the market if you know how to do things without even the artists come to Indonesia. So I spoke with the publishers yesterday, and then I asked him like, do you have plans to go to Indonesia to make a gig? Oh no, I haven't. So it's like even if your songs make a hit in Indonesia, I think you don't even have to come to perform if you don't feel like it. But yeah, hit is a hit anyway.
I guess when in a lot of many cases, the reason why Indonesia is very quote unquote sexy is because of the scale, you know. And this is not only in music, in everything, every business. Oh, it's very sexy because of the scale, the number of the population, etc. But I guess like the key to unlock that is just to find connectivity in the cultural context, in whatever. It's not only music, F&B, food, fashion, whatever. If you can create that, and it's not hard to find.
Yeah.
You just have to identify the opportunity.
You just have to look, right?
Precisely.
And we don't have very much time left, but you guys gave us a lot of very, very useful information and tips for really developing into Indonesia. But before we do go, I would love for you both to share something of cultural relevance, you know? So I think, like you said, Indonesia can be very sexy, but Christian, you mentioned Ramadan, right? As a time period for people who may not know, is a time to avoid trying to do anything in Indonesia or Malaysia. So what is like one cultural do or don't that you can recommend to everybody before we go here? So Teguh, let's start with you.
Okay. First, so I feel like a no-go areas is like no matter how advanced and sophisticated Indonesia is, but 90% of the population is Muslim. So the religion angle is non-negotiable. You know, if you want to scale something, don't mess with that. That's one. And the second is, if you want to scale up whatever, just find that mirror moments. And that mirror moments needs to be a universal value that you discover. And once you identify that, it's not about your skin color, religion, whatever, because that's like a key that you can unlock. So that mirror moments in entertainment and business is very important. So you can have that relationship. That's the point.
Wonderful, very, very helpful. Christian, one final one from you.
Okay, I think I have an example from Crash Adams. Anybody know Crash Adams? They're a music artist from Warner Music. So they came to Indonesia last February to do a collaboration with local celebrity, local content creators. They visited our studio as well. But that's not the thing, because it's kind of normal. You can ask your manager, you can ask your publicist to do that schedule. But the extraordinary way that they did was they come to there's a event called Car Free Day event in Jakarta in Sudirman. So it's basically a central Jakarta, and they created a content where they randomly ask people to do a remix of his songs. It's definitely staged anyway, because all the content, all the random people who remix or sang the song was really good. I so they do that, So they make a content by asking random people to can you sing a song? Can you sing? Can you sing? You want to you want to
I
sing
think I
a
saw
best
this.
part?
I think I saw this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
Everyone
This
the
is
planet
really
saw
good.
it, I
Yes,
guess.
yeah,
And
I
then after
remember seeing
that, they even make a reaction. So can you imagine, like you
It's a
create
reactionception.
Yeah, it's
Reaction to reaction
reactionception.
to
UGC over
reaction.
so you
UGC over
create
UGC.
you create
Amazing.
you create a
Amazing.
stunt marketing using your song, inviting local people to sing over your songs, to make a remix over your song, and then you create a reaction by, oh, okay, our video just hit 5 million, our video just hit, and you know what, the song became a trending in Indonesia, the good side, and everybody was talking about it, and even there was a property content creator was promoting houses using that song.
Incredible.
Houses.
Incredible.
Houses.
Incredible.
Like,
Incredible.
okay, this is the in front of the house, but everybody gets
Wonderful.
Can you imagine, like, yeah, I think that's one of the way to grab Indonesians' heart, because
Yeah.
um, keep on giving reaction and show appreciation, how you really tap not just to the fans but also to the local talents, also to the young talents. So it's like a both combination of appreciating the fans and also appreciating the talents.
Wonderful. Thank you both for giving us such a fantastic gateway into Indonesia.
Thanks, guys.